Hello and welcome to Presenting, a podcast where we chat about various topics related to role-playing games, typically Paizo products such as Pathfinder and Starfinder, but also others. I'm John Godek. With me today is Brent Bowser. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think we met at Origins in 2019, very briefly, like you met everybody else coming in.
Well, yeah. Yes, if you played
Yeah,
any game, I more
yeah.
than likely told you where your table was.
Yes. I that was I did a lot of conventions and kind of as I was mentioning offline. Origins is like I like Origins a lot, especially of the bigger ones. I like it
Mhm.
way better than Gen Con. And so I have some very fond memories of Origins. And I also have a really good friend that actually lives in Dayton, which I hear you're from as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so I got a chance to see him and hang out with him. And so I'm hoping to get back to it. And we'll talk about that a bit
Sure.
later. So, all right. So Brent is the regional venture coordinator of the Great Lakes for Paizo Organized Play and an editor for the Journal of Dungeoneering for Hip and Attractive Professionals, which definitely got to talk more about that. He's also written Pathfinder 2nd Edition Bounty 15, Treasure of the Coast, as well as Pathfinder 2nd Edition Scenario 316, Escape from Opara, which is due out in 2 weeks from when this thing comes out. So
Yeah.
congratulations on those.
Thank you.
And the last thing that Brett would like to make sure everybody knows is that he would appreciate it if you would excuse him for all his very outrageously punny characters. And what does that actually mean, by the way?
Uh, so I just got done playing a yesterday in our home game. I have it's 5th edition, so I have a Haragon, one of the rabbit people.
Right.
His name is Benedict Carrot Patch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's so it's not just the naming, I'm guessing, right?
Oh yeah, no, everything's pretty ridiculous. I have my manic sprite sorceress Lana Del Rey Frost.
Great. All right. So Brett, can you first tell me a little bit about what you do for organized play? You're actually the first RVC
Oh,
I've interviewed, and can you tell me how you got started in the first place and kind of rose up to where you're at now?
sure. My very first organized play game was. Oh, I'm going to sound so old now. We Be Goblins on Free RPG Day.
Okay.
So over 10 years ago. That was my first introduction. Got my organized play number. Found my local store in Dayton. Uh, got involved with that. Started GMing. The venture lieutenant for Dayton stepped down, and so from there I started organizing several stores during the peak of 4th edition, which meant we were
Mm.
our busiest for
Hmm.
Pathfinder. Uh, from there, became like the venture captain for Cincinnati and Ohio, and about 2019, actually, yeah, 2019. As the 2nd edition of Pathfinder came out, so was kind of like a 2nd edition of organized play, if you will.
Hmm.
And I was part of that new crop of regional venture coordinators that stepped up. And so I oversee Ontario, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
And when you say oversee, what does that actually mean?
Uh, so I I describe it as being director level.
Okay.
So glorified paperwork, essentially. Really, the real heroes, to be honest, are the GMs, the venture agents, the venture lieutenants, the people really being the face of the players with our stores, really
Hmm.
engaging everyone. I help make sure that they have everything that they need, like paperwork wise, support wise. I'm an escalation point for conflicts.
Hmm.
I help coach venture captains and lower on like some of the best ways to build partnerships with our stores. I tend to be very, very protective of our GMs. There are a lot of host stores that will say, "Yes, bring us more customers," and we're not a profit center. We
Right.
are
Right.
people too. And as much as we love frequenting our stores and supporting our local businesses, we're also really depending on them to help advertise like the great community of players that we have, and join that too as one.
So I'm going to ask you a question that's off script a little bit here.
Yeah.
I mentioned before I have a really good friend in Dayton, and I was
Yeah.
actually visiting him, and I was looking for an organized play game in Dayton, and I couldn't find any. So, is there a secret place I got to look, or is it just moved out to a different area?
So for I would say in general, we're all on Warhorns, and
Yeah,
working
I
on trying
wasn't
to
looking there.
consolidate,
Right.
different Warhorns and do searches that way. I did just launch, at least for myself, GreatLakesOrgPlay.com.
Hmm.
That came in very, very handy this weekend at Origins. As people were coming up to me and like, "Hey, is there anything going on in South Bend?" And so I can send them to
Right.
the site
Right.
where the Warhorn's at. Hey, we're from Ontario. What have we got going on? Oh, go here. Uh, Paul's my venture captain up there. There's his email. There's his Warhorns.
Hmm. Hmm.
Trying to do a better job of having those tools to help, integrate people into the community better.
No, I think Warhorn is great. And when I was looking, it was 2019, so I don't
Okay.
I don't
Not,
know that everybody. We hadn't had the pandemic yet. Not everybody was up on Warhorn for doing
gotcha.
things. So, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just remember seeing a couple websites and trying to find a game in either Columbus or in Dayton. It was kind of
Yeah.
hard to find one. So
Yeah, it's tricky, and that's some of the things that we try to work on and try to encourage is understand where people. I guess one of the things that's really big for me is understanding how people are playing and where they're
right.
going, and then reaching
Hmm.
out to them. And
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of times, very IT driven people, right? Where like, no, we've created this solution, you should use it, and
Right.
then
Right.
the users are like, but it doesn't do the thing I want it to do when I do this, and so that back and forth. So I think
Hmm.
we've done on the Paizo side, I think we've done a good job of like, yes, and this is how we are going to onboard people, and then we don't listen as well as we should to other people. So I'm trying to reach out to them more,
Right.
and
I
so
think I think it's probably a lot better since the pandemic in terms of organization. And I was actually going to ask you, how has that affected your region in terms of organized play?
oh man, so that's honestly been very, very tough. So 2019 second edition comes out. Um, you there's that initial system shock, because I don't know if anyone's told you, but 3.5 is the greatest edition that's ever been made.
Yeah,
So
I liked it a lot. Yes.
that's sarcasm, everyone. Uh, so a lot of a lot of people wanted to stick with that, um, and we only had you know 6 months of trying to promote second edition before we weren't allowed in public. Period.
Hmm.
So that was tough. Uh, Initially moving everything online, and the online venture core really like bent over backwards and was a huge, huge boon to not only the Great Lakes, but the entire community to help keep gaming going and bring us into the digital aspect even more. Uh, it's been it's been slow getting back. I think Ontario is still in lockdown.
Hmm.
With them being in Canada, we tend to fluctuate of masks on, masks off, masks on, masks off, social distancing on and off. Um, Origins, which I know we'll get to in a moment, kind of fluctuated back and forth and required vaccines and masks shortly before. So I think that drove a lot of people away. It's all of the work that I needed to do for promoting second edition has really been put on pause. And all that
Hmm.
rebuilding that I needed to do in the community as a whole has been put on pause, and we're trying to get back into it.
How have your numbers changed? Did you see a big uptick in numbers, but all online, or was it just the players you had just kind of moved online and you didn't see much change in numbers?
Uh, so net negative. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously, online, if we just want to section out um, that portion of it, huge uptick of online numbers.
Right.
But holistically, uh, just down, and that's fine. Online isn't for everyone. I get it; it's a different beast. As someone whose day job is running a lot of reports, making a lot of PowerPoints, and then sitting in conference calls and trying to manage those presentations, asking me to spend like another 4 hours creating graphs and charts and PowerPoints and running another like 5 hour conference call. Um, I've done it. It's not my favorite, so I get it. Um, so I think that's another big challenge that we have going is um, we're literally managing two communities right now. We had
Hmm.
the community that went online with us, are coming back into in-person play, and then the people who didn't have anything, and we need to get them back into our community.
Now, you just wrapped up Origins, right? So all the organized play there. How did that go?
So let me preface some things about my personality so
Okay.
you'll understand. On to Myers Briggs, I'm the advocate and architect, so I'm perpetually pessimistic about everything. And as a Gemini, I will give you both sides. So I will try to give you as good of a impression. Um, it went much better than I had thought it would. There's definitely been some changes at Gamma's top organization. They really embraced more of the independent creators. They seem to have their act together a little bit better than I'm used to this year.
Hmm.
The Origins organizing committee was predominantly newer people, and they picked up very, very well with with all the previous information and a lot of unknowns being thrown at them. So attendance was down, and again, I think the mask and vaccine mandate had a lot to do with that. There's a lot of people who aren't coming out because of that. I will tell you, I'm going to wear masks at every convention now because I
Hmm.
don't have any crud whatsoever. So I
Hmm.
don't care what
Yes,
endemic is
that's
going
good.
on. I'm masking up forever now.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
Uh,
true. Concrete is a real thing.
yeah. Yeah. There's a lot that's different. I'm still trying to process how much is good and how much is going to be a challenge. Our volunteers were down, and I think a lot of that, again, some of the worries about going out in public, and some of it too. As we've moved a lot of things online, um, the idea of how much a game is worth,
Hmm.
is different. What makes coming to Origin special as opposed to just staying home and waiting a couple weeks to play it? So I think those are some challenges we have. Um, so a lot of our core people, it didn't feel as much like a family reunion as previous Origins usually are.
Mm-hmm.
But we did give away well over 100 new player numbers.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very, very encouraging of knowing that we could be there and reach out to new people, and get them involved. And even if organized play isn't for them, or if it's for them for a few months and meet the people that they like, and then they go off and make a home game. As long as they're buying Paizo products and enjoying Pathfinder and Starfinder, that's really all I care about.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was just different. It was kind of down overall too.
Hmm.
Even Adventures League filled half of their room as opposed to their normal 35 to 50.
Wow. Wow. What were how were hotel reservations and prices? Did they reflect that, or were they still tough to get rooms close by and expensive?
Uh, so I don't know that I can speak to that. I lucked out. I volunteered for like the whole weekend, so I ended up with a con room at the Hyatt. So,
Right, right.
um, but yeah, like the economy is really tough in general right now. So I'm sure like the $5 a gallon certainly kept some people, some of our Indiana and Michigan friends away.
Hmm.
I'm sure the hotel rooms being slightly more expensive kept some folks away. There's just a lot of factors outside of our control, and they did something different. Gamma did something very different this year. They raised the badge price from 50 for the weekend to 95,
Wow,
but
wow.
games were free.
Oh, so you didn't have to buy tickets for games?
Yeah,
Well, that's better, I guess.
it it was a mix. That was a very mixed bag.
Mhm.
It was nice on one hand where we didn't have to like count generics and we didn't have to like turn people
Mhm.
away. They were like, I would like to play this game, and then set up, we don't have to gatekeep them. We're like, but you can't. You've got to leave us and go spend money and come back. As
Yeah,
people were interested, we could really build on that curiosity, enthusiasm. The other side of that was there were several times when we would check the website and games would be sold out, and then like half of the people would show up.
because
So
they didn't have a commitment with the payment.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
no skin in the game, they were like, well, what have I got to lose? And so there's no way to quantify how many people we didn't reach because they saw that the game was full and went to go play something else.
right, right. That's it. Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic there. I'm trying to remember at Origins. I think when I went, you had to go all the way to the other end of the convention hall to get the
Yeah,
tickets, and that
yeah,
was like, oh man, that's rough. That's
yeah,
rough.
and they have like the one of the like a Gamma Mini HQ like right outside our door, and they
Mm,
have no means of selling generics, right? And like that would seems like it would be such an easy win, but yeah, I
right.
can't. It's awful telling people
Yeah.
I want to come play your game in 20 minutes. Well,
It'll take
walk
you
the other
20
end of
minutes.
convention, stand in line, and
Yeah,
come.
yeah. Oh wow. Well, it sounds like it's not quite back to normal. Now the weekend was different too. Do you know if that's going to be a permanent change or if that was just kind of a one off?
I I don't know, to be honest, and that was another thing that was again like more different. Like normally it's on like Father's Day weekend, or they coordinate it in Gay Pride weekend. And of course, the parade goes right out
Right.
Saturday morning, and everyone walks inside and comes and plays games. Um, and yeah, I don't know if that had a direct effect or not. I kind of would like it to go back. It saves me 2 trips to Columbus, but
Right. Right. Well, it's not that far for you though. Come on.
well, I know, but I'm a very busy man.
Yeah. Yes. Well, as I mentioned before, that's a graduate. This weekend was graduation weekend for me, and so if it stays on this weekend, I'll be hard pressed to convince my dean to let me go to go to a convention to play instead of do the mandatory, congratulate graduates and stuff. So I hope it changes. So congratulations on your first Pathfinder Second Edition scenario coming out later
Thank you.
this month. Now, no spoilers, but can you talk a little bit about the process you went through to get this opportunity and kind of your process you went through to write it?
Okay. So uh, Mike Kimmel tweeted a kind of like an open call for submissions,
Yep.
looking for new voices. So I submitted a third party product that I'm working on. It's basically a customizable card game within um, Pathfinder 2 and Starfinder. So it's not an actual like CCG. It's dice rolls and skill checks, but it's if you want to play a CCG within the system, here's how you would do that. He liked the submission. I got asked for if I could do Bounty off the Coast,
Hmm.
so I did that. Had a real good time with that. they give you an outline. You send in an outline. You send in a first draft. You have to take all that feedback and make it work. And then they make a few tweaks after that and publish it.
How long was the timeline from when they recruited you for 316 to the when you had to turn in your final deliverable?
I think I got like 3 or 4 months,
Yeah,
I think, to write 10,000 words. So, yeah, it's definitely, and they do give you a lot of framework to work within.
right.
So it's not like you shouldn't be spending a month just kind of wandering around, what am I going to do? They pretty much tell you what needs to be done, which is nice. And then just go and make that manifest. Oh no, we're about to get a guest. We're
You
about to
have
get
a
a
cat.
yeah. We're about to get the regional venture cat Bacon.
They
She's
need
very
some
mouthy.
loving, it sounds like.
Yeah, she has anxiety from me being at Origins all week. So I'll
Oh,
see if I can get her up here and be quiet. Yeah, I know. Well, come here.
that is a short little like squeak.
There, come here. All right, lay down. Um, but yeah, it's a nice back and forth. They give you an outline, but they don't completely hold your hand. So
Right,
I do have a lot of wiggle room to be creative and interpret some things. Um, One of the things that I think has really helped me is coming as like from the organized play side, being such an experienced GM.
right,
Inclusivity is really big for me. Um, and so doing skill checks of not letting everything be a diplomacy check,
right,
like
right.
understanding you're going to get four barbarians at a table, and so what options can I have so that everyone can play and participate.
Good, good. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to do a bounty as well. I haven't got that scenario yet, and I did submit to Mike's open call, and he said I'm on the list. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for
Mhm.
that. But yeah, I do appreciate the detail outline they give you, kind of where they want you to go and things. But the fact that they leave you a lot of room for how you get there, I think is really good. So, what advice do you have for people who are interested in getting into organized play, and especially if they want to move up and become a RVC, or do you advise them not to want to do that?
uh, yeah, we'll talk about getting involved in organized play in general first. Uh, um, it's I would say like Paizo.com and Warhorn is probably where you want to start first. And honestly, even like looking at your local game stores and asking them if they know of anyone that's playing Pathfinder. You'll find like a lot of word of mouth that happens. And a lot of our stores are very good about promoting and letting them know like when our events are going on, because that gives them an opportunity to sell more product, but also gives a chance for people um, to meet new folks and get involved. You can do it anywhere. Uh, the scenarios are available for purchase. If you're ambitious enough, you can start up at your college, at your library, at your favorite board game bar, at your favorite store if they don't already have something going. You can start something yourself. The Organized Play Foundation.org website has links to all of the RVCs. Um, so anyone can reach out to me, even if you're not in my area. I can help direct you to whoever you need to go to. Make sure you get supported with all the scenarios and advice that you need. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a different. I have a different take on organized play. Like it is available for folks, like as a way of gaming, but I also realize that it's almost like a dating site, if you will. Like, it's
Yeah.
here for if you don't know anybody,
Yeah.
come in and meet some locals that you get along with, and if you want to go off and run your APs or run your home games, then you've made like some great friends. You've made maybe some job connections. Or I've married people who met at a Pathfinder table. I was there for their meet cute. I wrote their
Yeah.
scenario where he proposed to her and I performed their wedding. It's a thing, like if you're new in
Yeah.
town,
Yeah.
uh, you know, meet new local gaming people. You know, if your situation changes where you have your first kid and you got to drop out, come back a couple years later, you can still play your character. Like I understand that the fluidity and the
Hmm.
ins and outs for it. So don't feel like you have to get that big of a commitment. It's always here. It's always open. It's always ready to welcome anyone in.
Well, I think that's one of the cool things about organized play is you can drop in and drop out. It's not with a home game, like you're
Right?
committed, right? You got to go.
Mhm.
And if you can't make it, especially like for me as a GM, I'm having my hardwood floors redone. So I get a game Sunday. I said, we can't have it here. So, and I'm the
Yeah.
GM. And so it's like, oh, well, that kind of messes things up. But if I were running in a store, which I'm not because of I had a transplant 2 years ago, I can't go into stores yet.
Hmm.
Hoping that changes. If I'm running in a store, I can drop in. Oh, I'll run this week, or I run online. I'll run it a couple weeks, and I'll take some time off. The nice thing about it, I'll say, is that even though there might be strangers initially, you play with people enough, you kind of get to know them, and
Yeah.
that's how you start forming home groups. I think too.
Yeah. And I will say organized play is very, very easy to run.
Hmm.
The scenarios are very well written. They give you everything that you need. There's so many handouts. Monster stats are in there. They tell you where to reference them. They're, for the most part, like even when they're multi parts, like part one and part two, they're still essentially good one shots.
Right.
Um,
Right.
you don't have to do a lot of thinking. If you're running home games and like, well, I don't have to build a world and I don't have to have deep backstories for things and I don't know where I'm going to go after this. It's it's a good way to learn to GM. And it's nice because then you can rotate and you don't have to,
Right.
if you can't have the game at your house because your floors are being done, someone else can easily just pick up and run, another scenario, another one shot with our characters and we keep going. And then from there, it's honestly pretty easy to be a venture agent too and coordinate that stuff with your store.
Yeah, it seems like venture agents, if you have somebody who's willing to run at a store, at least in our Seattle area, there's a store opens up, somebody wants to run games there, they make them a venture agent. There's like not a whole lot involved with that.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's kind of cool, and you get free scenarios, and
yeah,
makes it easier to run. I do have a kind of a side question here. So I'm primarily a Starfinder guy. So
sure.
I run about 180 tables, and I recently got into second edition. Right, I would
Mhm.
like to start running this summer some Pathfinder second edition. What are some of the things I need to look out for as a experienced Starfinder GM that'll trip me up as going over to Pathfinder second edition?
Three actions, three
I know
actions,
that.
three
Yeah,
actions.
got that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
uh, I'm trying to think what is probably understanding DCs.
Okay.
And they're incredibly easy to calculate because it's just 10 plus whatever it is, so people don't roll opposed perception versus stealth, and they
Hmm.
don't roll opposed bluff versus sense motive. You deceive someone, and then you have to beat their DC. You're stealthing past their perception DC.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So that'll be different. That's good. I
Yeah.
know attacks of opportunity are less frequent.
Yes.
Um, treasure bundles, I'm told, are pretty simple to figure out. I don't even know what that means yet. I just know
Yeah.
people assign me treasure at the end when I play. I don't know
Yeah.
how that gets determined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
the scenario is written of like you find this thing and then it just turns into a treasure bundle.
Yeah.
Uh, day jobs will probably be day
Right.
jobs in schools will be probably the hardest stuff to pick up because even I have to
Oh,
refer to the giant charts.
yeah, that's right. And there's something like you can bump, like if you have a low level player coming in, you can give them
Yes.
mentor boons and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
So that's something I've played enough to know these things happen. I just don't know the mechanics of them. So it's like, oh, okay, well, that's just easy. And I guess what I need to do is make a checklist. Here are all the things I need to pay attention to. But I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'll just run it with my local group, and they all know I don't know anything about Pathfinder, so they'll tell me what to do, right? So
Yeah.
they won't care. Well, great. So Brett, tell me what's next for you. What's going on that you can actually talk about?
Okay. What can I actually talk about? Uh, Gosh, this is where it's going to get probably boring for you because I don't have any other scenarios or anything like that coming up. We just released our third issue for the Journal of Dungeoneering.
Oh yes, yes, you're going to talk about that. I was going to ask you, what is that all about? Is that's a
Uh,
real thing?
yes, it is a real thing. It is essentially a fanzine publication
Hmm.
uh, started by Alex Glenn Friedman and Elizabeth Parsons. Um, Happen to be friends of mine. They started us up. I came in, I think, issue two. I think. I just really love what they're doing. They are huge TTRPG nerds and fans of everything. So they love interviews with creators. Uh, Love getting little splats, whether it's Starfinder fighter archetypes or some new Pathfinder items, fiction and poetry, art, advice columns. They love all that stuff. So we've
Oh,
just released our third issue at jod4hap.com. We're working on getting that out on Infinite as well, but I think it's also on Drive Through RPG.
right. I saw that.
We had an interview with Jason Tondro. I did a little reporting on the unionization side of things.
Yeah.
There's
So
yeah, go ahead.
I have a question though. So it's a journal of engineering for hip and attractive professionals.
Mhm.
What if you're not hip, attractive, or professional? Can you still
So
submit to that?
so we think we firmly believe that all people are beautiful, and so you're at least attractive.
Okay.
And
But
if
the hip and the professional part though?
um, you know, uh, anyone can be a professional, right? As long as you don't have to be paid to be a professional, as long as you
Yeah.
love doing what you do, and if you are anything from like slightly bougie to at least being in tune to current events, then you could be hip.
Okay. So you're saying that anybody can submit then if they want.
Anyone can be a hip and attractive professional.
Okay.
If you believe it, then you are.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I actually I have a journal article I'm actually thinking of working on research on kind of the gaming industry because I realized this is, I've done about 80 of these interviews and I always ask kind of the similar type of questions, about how people got started, what advice do they have, and um, a lot of stuff about the pandemic. And so one of the things I thought I'd go back and kind of collate that and actually do an actual academic journal
Nice.
publication to get into a gaming journal someplace. And then I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should do something for this as well. Or maybe I can get this to count for my university is something that'll count for me for accreditation. I have to publish so many things
Mhm.
to maintain accreditation and stuff like that. So, all right. Okay. Well, then if it's okay, then I think I might try to submit something. Is it rolling submissions or do you have calls or?
I think we're should be probably rolling. We'll make a call for issue four here soon,
Yeah.
as we figure out kind of what it is that we're looking for. With issue three, we did want to really with the Paizo accountability and the
Right.
unionization coming in.
Right.
We really want to zone in on that, but for the most part, it's pretty open. Submit
Yeah.
away. We'll pay you for your work.
Oh, wait. There's money too?
Well, yeah.
That's not how journals usually work.
Well, okay,
This
but this is
oh, it's a fanzine. Yeah. Okay.
a
Okay.
journal for hip and attractive professionals.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's good to know too. Then. Uh, well, Brett, it's been really great having a chance to chat with you and get to know you. And I got to apologize. My allergies are just super acting up right now, so my eyes are just really bugging me here. Um, it wasn't you, and it wasn't the
Yeah.
fact I was sad the whole time. It's just allergies right now. But thanks so much for joining us on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you at a convention sometime soon.
Yes, absolutely. Well, cool. Thank you for having me. It's been great. Bacon says thank you as well.
All right. We enjoyed having the RV cat there as well.
Yes.
Thanks.